Then it was on this wall here. Do you see the 18 question mark?
18 question mark?
Ah.
I didn't know.
You didn't know?
I didn't know.
You didn't see?
I didn't see.
Oh. Nampak tak itu 18?
18X ke apa?
Ah, ya, ya.
Saya tulis.
Tak nampak ke? Ada dua. Kat luar sini. Tak nampak? Oh.
Are you joking?
Betul. Tengok. Betul.
You doing that? You need to share or you want paper? What's that?
Tak tahu tu. Atau kenapa macam ni? Pernah macam ni jadi macam ni?
No.
Tak pernah?
Pernah why?
Ini baru ni? Baru hari ni?
Baru hari ni lah. Because
Oh.
I start work this morning around 7 o'clock.
Macam tu? Macam tu? Tak nampak? Tak pernah? Baru hari ni nampak?
Baru hari ni lah.
Oh, okey. Atau maknanya apa? Ha? Tak tahu.
18 tanda soal.
18 question mark. 18 lah.
The 18.
18 is
18 lah.
18.
Apa benda Allah? Saya pun tak tahu.
Seluruh Kuala Lumpur kita nampak dinding-dinding semua ada tulis.
Memang tak gunalah pasal dia buat. Tengoklah cara dia kan, mana dah betul. Kita orang pun tak tahu lah apa nak jawab, nak cakap pun tak tahu apa benda lah. 18 tanda soal.
Dia macam-macam bentuk ada. Kecil ada, besar ada, 18 kan? Di mana kan kita nampak 18. Kita pun tak tahu apa itu makna 18.
when I first saw the 18 graffiti, I thought that it was related to the national service. A lot of people seem to think it's to do with national service.
You know, it's talking about national service.
Because of the national service.
National service, huh?
Some other quarters have claimed that 18 is actually what do you call it? A logo for this local Chinese gangsters.
I know that in Klang the number 18 was construed as a gangster gang claiming their territory. You know.
What it actually refers to is the 18 people that Badawi said he was going to take in for corruption charges. And we haven't seen evidence of those 18 people being listed and named. So.
According to a Banama report published in the Malay Mail, the then Minister in the Prime Minister's Department, Dr. Rais Yatib, said in February 2004 that the anti-corruption agency was investigating another 18 high-profile cases after the arrest of former Pewaja Steel Chief Executive Officer Tan Sri Eric Chia and former Land and Cooperative Development Minister Tan Sri Kasita Gadang on corruption charges.
This is the number that have been uttered, that have been said, that have been delivered by then the Minister of Law, Datuk Sri Rais Yatib.
The 18 politicians who until now there's no news about whether they will be charged for corruption and so forth.
If it's too blatant, it's too clear, there is no mystery, you know, and there is no perception, there's no reading within the text, you know, there is no understanding of sign X signifier. Leave it to the audience to make the connection. One should leave certain things as part of the mystery of life.
Confusion is great. Confusion is a very good thing.
I think it's kind of cool, but I don't really know what it means.
Spray cans or possibly a stencil with paint.
Some are directly hand-painted.
A very nicely organized bunch of people.
Manila cut, cheap materials, papers, even A4 size papers. They just cut out the images and they just spray the image and then once it's done, they throw it away.
It's on the street because it's edgy, because you can, depending on your perspective, you react to it in different ways. It brings up a whole bunch of issues, whether it be about criminal activities of graffiti, graffitiing, what is graffiti, or whether it's public statements, whether it's art, contemporary expression, it's urban, it's It's people making statements.
So is it art?
It's art, definitely. It's real. It has a purpose to it. It has an agenda to it. Think about your community, your position in it, your individual exercise of power, of free will, of expression is what's actually in the street and not in the galleries. And I consider that sort of the most happening of contemporary Malaysian art. To communicate something, and they know their audience is not a gallery elitist, minimal 5 people audience, but the way it has very strong purpose, and it's got a very strong audience target, which is people on the street, everybody. There is no censorship of the audience. It's a completely random audience, and that's its power. What is that 18 question mark? You know, it came out around about the same time as 8TV. Is it anything to do with 8TV? Is it want it, like 1-8, want it? Yeah?
And surprisingly, the first thing that comes up to mind is a commercial. Is it a commercial enterprise?
Yeah, is it a commercial enterprise? Yeah. What's this person selling? What does graffiti mean? Is it something bad? Do you approve of people painting on public walls?
Is it something bad being done this way? I mean, is it technically it's a crime, isn't it? I mean, you're violating, you're vandalizing private property.
As far as I'm concerned, so is all that criminal activity of putting up huge signage with National Panasonic that, you know, destroys a street. So if you're talking about signage and different kinds of signage, which is more intrusive into your life.
But isn't that a more valid form of expression either? Okay, fine, it's commercial, but isn't it?
Yeah, they've got a purpose. Their agenda is to sell National Panasonic or whatever it is. But so is this. This is also selling an agenda. It has its purpose as well. So to me, they're equally valid. So if you want to talk about aesthetics, then I'd prefer to go with a painting than a 20-foot signage.
What do you think about the fact that it is perceived by society as illegal, as something that's bad because it's vandalized?
Well, it goes exactly according with what it wants to talk about, which is human rights and freedom of expression and various things like that. So it's using a medium to talk about something in a very direct way by even the act itself is talking about issues that it is advertising in its signage.
I think it's trying to give the message to the bourgeois people in Bangsa that there are bigger things to worry about than happy hour.
Whether or not it's illegal, it's still art, isn't it? And I think the fact that it's supposedly illegal makes it even more powerful.
Well, initially I was very angry because I had just painted my wall.
I read from the newspaper that they sent a letter to you.
Yeah, but we're not sure whether it's the same people or not.
Right.
Could be a...
Yeah, what did the letter say? I mean,
they said that they're sorry. A wrong way to make a statement.
Why do you think it's a wrong way?
Because we don't know who they are.
Okay.
I mean, it's no good being anonymous and causing a nuisance to everyone. I mean, although I do think some of it is rather artistic. If they had asked for permission, we would have given them a wall to do it.
Where do you get this t-shirt from?
From a fellow activist. Well, he's true an artist, and he basically disagrees with his national service system, and so I basically support what he's saying, that the national service is not a quick way of solving the problems in Malaysia.
Okay, and why specifically Mahathir holding the mouth?
Well, the idea of the national service is that the youth is supposed to follow what the leaders in the government says, how you should behave, how you should think, or what you should say, etc. And basically, I think this artist makes it putting it very bluntly by saying that Mahathir is stifling the expression of the youth. But I think there's a big difference between somebody who vandalizes, public property, and somebody who actually, I think you beautify the area, and I think that this is a symptom of something larger, that because there's lack of space in Malaysia, that is why people.
Lack of space for what?
Lack of space for expressing themselves. I'm here because I support Anwar. Anwar is a symbol of one of the main reasons what is wrong with the country, interference of the executive in the judiciary. So, and I think today's decision by the federal court, it's overwhelming for me that finally the judiciary has came around and managed to assert its independence.
I there was once I gave a concept, I give classes in Bangsa to some art student and all that. And which I think the whole idea, what I give some classes and some new thinking, how to democratize looking at sign and meaning, pictures and painting, you know, and to break away from the notions that art, paintings, sculptures, installation must be confined to certain institution. It was cave painting, which was very democratic. It was done for the people to look at it until years later it was appropriated by the bourgeoisie and transformed into private collection and sent to museum. So now we are coming back into artwork to where it begins, like cave painting, and it is space where all art form can be visualized and can be seen, and one could derive pleasure out of it. All artwork for me, in one way or another, is politics itself. One must not compartmentalize different things as this is art, this is politics. And instead of having wall being plastered with advertising this or that, Mr. This, something that, we put it something else. It is actually the same, you know. I have nothing against advertising because advertising also is an art form. I have nothing about billboard. I think billboard also is art form. I think these are people who are trying to express certain ideas within their artwork, certain aspects. Either number one, they are not entangled with the mainstream art exhibition, art institution, gallery. So they exhibit their artwork there. And number two, they think that their art form and content will be rejected by the mainstream institution. So these are people who is pushing the boundary of the meaning of artwork. And this is part of the cityscape. This is for me part of the cityscape. This is part of the ambience that is created by modernity. This thing is nothing new. If you go to the toilet, I remember when I was a kid, when I go to the public toilet in my school, I see this thing, you know, erected penises, very enlarged vagina. It's my first introduction to human sexuality, you know. It's like the cave painting, you know. Oh my God, my penis is going to grow so big, you know. Wow, I've never seen a vagina like this. And that was artwork for me, you know. That was years ago, you know. So why can't we appreciate this, you know, as an art form, you know. There's a lot of public toilet everywhere, you know. And also it's an expression, you know. In a simple form, when you are sitting on a bowl of toilet, and then all this painting, and your mind goes as you... I think that's a beautiful thing about life. One of these days, you know, one art gallery in New York might be buying their work. I mean, if I know them, I could be the agent, you know. I could be an embarrassment to Valentine Willie, you know. I could be the next Valentine Willie in this town, you know. And I wouldn't be smoking Karatek, you know. I would be having cigar Davidoff, you know. That's all what we want in life, isn't it?
I think the graffiti is there because there are so few spaces for freedom of expression in this country. Somebody seems to be trying to reclaim the spaces for public debate. There is an awful lot of legislation to prevent public debate and public discussion, ranging from the Printing Presses and Publications Act to the Sedition Act, the Official Secrets Act, and this is translated, since it's been there for such a long time, into a culture where we don't talk about these things. These things are now considered un-Malaysian, whereas if you look before independence, there was a lot more debate about political issues going on than there is now. We seem to have regressed. Professor Hamdan of the Human Rights Commission, Suhakam, was quoted as saying, "We do not know who is behind the graffiti. While Suhakam supports the right to expression, we must also respect the law. Two wrongs don't make a right." I think that the one thing that is fundamentally problematic with Professor Hamdan's statement is that if you're respecting the law, there is absolutely no space for freedom of expression whatsoever. In a society where we have the Official Secrets Act, the Sedition Act, the Printing Presses and Publications Act, the Communications and Multimedia, and about 30 or 40 other laws as well that control and decrease to an absolute pinpoint the space for freedom of expression. If you're going to stay within the limits of the law, you're not going to say anything at all.
Who is responsible for the vandalism?
Do you know who did it? Because we're trying to find out as well.
tangkap orang yang menulis tu kan. Baru kita dapat.
There's someone that likes to paint.
I can't tell you that.
That likes teh tarik.
Is he doing it?
Guerrilla style.
Yang cuti hunting tu. Oh, kita tak tahu siapa yang cuti hunting tu.
I don't know. That's what I heard. You said he. I didn't say he.
So it could be a she.
Good. I hope so. It'd be great.
Memang kita tak pernah nampak pun.
I'm terribly sorry. I don't think so. I even know. I wish I know this guy.
This is a naughty boys does this.
Well, it have to be somebody that's very, very busy with nothing else to do. Probably unemployed lah.
Kita pun tak pernah tangkap, kita pun tak pernah nampak dia orang contoh dinding ni.
You speak to any Malaysian on the street, you're probably very close to this person.
So who did this?
There was somebody that came in and did all the stuff that you see on the walls here.
So you don't know the person?
Doing things. I know the person that did this particular one, but I don't know if that's the same person that's doing everything else, because that's become quite famous, and so it's been used in all sorts of things now.
How do I find him? Who do you think I can speak to get to him?
I'm not sure, but perhaps you could talk to the person that did the other mural that's opposite it. His name is Tan Se-hwan.
Okay.
You can try talking to him from the arts community.
Why would he know? Why would he know the graffiti?
He does a lot of stuff on community media and things like that. Arts projects is a community-based level, so he's been doing a lot of work with young artists, and maybe he's been speaking to some people who have interesting ideas about art.
A lot of people know he's not interested. It's considered public property Anyone can just go out on the streets and just do it. So we cannot claim that this is a work of this person or that person, because the intentions, I guess, was basically to get more people to explore spaces for expression. And these people, all these groups of people, they're not like artists. That's why they don't sign their name. So they're not interested in taking credit. Pushing for more democratic space for the public, by the public, is one thing. And it's not so much for the artist, because if this person considers himself or herself as an artist, just like a typical hip-hop graffiti artist, they'll leave their initials and they'll sign their names so that other people know about it. So it's like territorial dissing. But people who are, I think, seriously engaged with this sort of activities, they don't really see themselves as artists. And perhaps this is so good because it will challenge the concept of the artist. Every space, every open space or public space is not really a public space, because you have to apply for some sort of a permit. So for the government, a public space is basically an advertising space. You have to pay money to pay the government to put something in a public space, which we are the public, which belongs to us. So so everything is business. Everything is just down to dollar and cents. Even our so-called space, open space, is down to dollar and cents.